Okay, this is Aaron with ABR, and this is Colin. I don't know if you have a nickname. I didn't ever ask you. Okay, all right. You never know.
The cleanup.
I'm the garbage disposal in my house. That's my nickname because I eat everything. So we've actually seen Colin twice. I've personally learned a ton. I want to make sure we get to communicate with Dave Rotter and Don Cummings. Both those guys were super helpful for me to make sure we had a good plan in place. This is a leg that he had made before. There's a significant amount of, I'm going to refer to the rotationplasty as a pseudo knee. There's a significant amount of flexion in the pseudo knee, which he doesn't need. He has full range of motion. A lot of his movement is coming from the midfoot. So this is a different style. There is a polycentric knee joint here. It is significantly flexed here. This is apparently a KAFO joint, which I'm a fan of for some situations. Just a different approach. This I'll see often when they want to use a distal mount foot because it'll make a little more room, but the pseudo knee is usually not very strong in this kind of pre-flex position. Colin is exceptionally strong. He's only one of two rotationplasty patients I've worked with that can do a vault or a calf raise on his pseudo knee. So he can get down on his knees and use his pseudo knee, put his other foot off the ground and hold on to something and push himself off the ground. That's a good exercise that we start having kids do before they come into town to get them ready for using a running blade or using a springier foot. This is an all-pro. I'm not sure of the category though, but it's I would say it's a little stiffer than that foot. What would you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just with this on and the bounce, and then putting this on, it's like we were walking because it just so stays.
Okay, so it feels different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's good and bad. That's his baseline for a while, like a year, with this on and off.
March would be a year. End of March would be a year.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not quite,
Not
but almost.
close.
Pretty close. So we've had a significant amount of time with this. So that's gotten us into a different place with what we were shooting for. So this time, what we messed up last time I messed up, was doing a fiberglass cast. I've done that on many and it's worked out, but I will probably not do that again on anyone. So, because I think it's just not worth the potential errors, and talking to Don Cummings was super helpful with that. So we redid this. I would say this was our first attempt at this. The position was different on here, but I believe what was hurting me on this one was the corset and this part. This part was just never really comfortable on your foot, right, Colin? Right in here. We had several areas, most notably here. But another big area is we got a local leather source. So if anybody's making these, you can find somebody to partner with for leather. That'd be super helpful. So Joshua found a good speed lacer system this time, which is, I think, a little better than, you probably prefer that to using these laces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been a little better. We still don't have a good grip on socks. We never really do. I think Mom and Dad will try out some baseball socks, soccer socks, different things. So why don't you slip that one off, Colin? Yeah, I know. It's a hassle, isn't it? Oh, you got a lot better.
Oh, that was a good one.
Okay.
The best one yet.
So here's the thing that's kind of tricky with Colin and this is where we were debating what to make this corset height. And so Don, when you get this video, and Dave, I'd love to get your feedback once you can see this. Can you raise your shorts up here? So we're going to about right here, right where this union side is. That's,
Yeah.
This corset's a little bit below this union side, I'd say. Well, you can kind of see the laces right here, so it's right about right here. Doctor says the union side's really good. And Colin is strong. I would say he's strongly uncoordinated though, meaning moving his hip and pseudo knee is not quite completely in sync yet. So there's, you can also see here that he's got a significant amount of external rotation at his hip, especially if you compare it to, sit up straight here, buddy. This side is about here, and then this side is significant. And we don't know, some of that's probably coming from the ankle, possibly the attachment of the muscle. I think the fascia is very loose in here. That's my suspicion. But that's another thing when he's going to go to therapy. There's going to be some big things we're going to try and work on. So the 3 things that we're going to work on is ankle range of motion. You can see he can get his foot straight, but a lot of it, point your foot straight there, Colin. A lot of it, when I take him the last little bit, comes from his midfoot right in here. So we like to work on the ankle part here, maximizing that motion, because that's healthier for his foot. It already looks better though. The other thing we're going to work on is slide out towards me a little, Colin. So we typically do a test like this with their abductors and hold them out here like this. Don't let me push in, okay? And so you can see this one, he stays against me, but this one kind of comes in pretty easy. I'm sure he's not going to let me do that again the next time I do this video. I'm quite sure I'm not going to be able to do that, right?
No.
Okay, attaboy. So hip abductor, hip extensor, range of motion, and then basically getting this calf here to get close to a similar strength to this quad over here so that he can really control that spring. So this is the final design we went with here. This is a very minimalist corset, again with his strength level, with being able to vault off of his foot. I believe he has tons of potential for strength here. He has a little range of motion deficit, and I think he has some abductor weakness that he could work on. But that's the final design for the corset height. We're probably an inch below that union site right now. And the inside booty, I hope this comes out, because this can be a bit booger. Well, that's not too bad. Have you tried to take this out, Colin?
I think we did it.
Well, you did it, okay.
Did we do it?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what you can't see in between here, we put this plastisode on for relief, and then we put, did y'all take one of these layers out?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 layers of 1/2-inch plastisode extensions for the toe to grow linearly. As his foot grows, you can see a little bit of layer of plastisode right here. So he has some pretty prominent, where are the bones on the sides that bother you, buddy? His 1st and 5th cuneiform here, and then over
And then-
here, right?
Yeah,
These right here would.
No, it's up here.
Right, but didn't these used to get calluses on you too,
Yeah.
right here? That's in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we basically wrapped a horseshoe pad right around here. So it's double thick right through here for those bones here, the cuneiforms, and right here, and right over on the same side here. So other than that, there's nothing in the cast, the plaster cast. I definitely got an Achilles tendon purchase when I casted. We did identify the greater trochanter and put an alignment line on the side right off the get-go, so I feel like that was important. But other than that, that's about it. Dad has a stiffer spring. This is an A, a 2A. Dad has an A, so the plan is to get him back with a physical therapist there. I'm going to communicate the plan to her about the specific muscles we want to work on, and then work towards the stiffer spring. Our goal is in this one, when he can bounce off the toe and flatten the heel spring out, then we know it's too soft, and we'll move him up to the next spring. When he can run step over step with the next spring, then we would like to look at going into a blade at that point. And unfortunately, doing a blade will require a second socket. So you do, at that point, you have to make lightning strike twice.
Oh no. No.
Exactly.
Change
But-
your legs first.
What has worked for us in the past is if it's not too far away, then we can typically duplicate this. If it's still fitting, if it's not a year down the road, 6 months down the road, something like that. I anticipate you'll probably go fast with that, so I wouldn't be surprised if by the summer you're able to look at doing that, because you're much better yesterday than today. Can you think of anything I'm missing?
What else?
I think the main things that were different were using a plaster cast, getting a leather corset, and then I think also for me the big highlight was talking to other colleagues to make sure I had the right plan in place. That's where personally for me that's what was most helpful. So So I think that's it for me, big guy.